Now, the next thing she mentions, so I want you to respond to this. You were alluding to this earlier. We can't apply the fifth commandment to abortion because we have the death penalty.
Well, here's a case where you have specific passages that give the government the authority to punish wickedness with the sword. So, and again, we have to understand it in the context that, Romans 13, that they are doing this for the good of the people, and they're doing this in a righteous manner. If the government is rounding up its citizens and putting them to death because they're considered political enemies, that would certainly not be a righteous or just use of that authority. That would be outright murder. That'd be a violation of the fifth commandment. But when it is done, for example, to punish a child rapist or to punish a mass murderer, then yes, it is just. And I don't think anybody expects Karen Johnson to be an expert on the scriptures. I'm going to keep calling her Karen Johnson because I think it would really irritate her if I was doing that to her face. But, well, I guess I'll call her Whoopi Takes Less Time. Anyway, I don't think anybody expects her to be a biblical scholar, but I'm going to read from Exodus chapter 21. And this is beginning with verse 22. When men strive together and hit a pregnant woman so that her children come out, but there is no harm, the one who hit her shall surely be fined, as the woman's husband shall impose on him. So this is just unintentionally harming a woman. Okay. But if there is harm, then you shall pay life for life. So if the moral law that God set out for his people was that even if a man should unintentionally harm a pregnant woman and causes her child to die, that he shall pay with his life, how much more does this apply for those who intentionally take the life of a child in the womb? There's no way around it for Whoopi or for anyone else for that matter, that abortion is murder, and it's laid out plainly in God's word.
And you were also, to sort of hammer home the idea of the acceptability of the death penalty in terms of the fifth commandment. You were mentioning Romans, and we've talked about Romans many times before. Can you touch on that briefly as well?
Yeah, so in Romans 13, you have laid out these instructions that Paul gives. The part that I've always struggled with, and I think a lot of other theologians struggle with this too, is that Paul is writing to the people in Rome who are under the Roman government, who, the Roman government acted very wickedly towards Christians. Granted, when Paul's writing, there isn't persecution like would be seen a century later after he's writing. But he lays out that the purpose of the government is to act for the good of the people. But also in Romans 13, it specifically gives the authority to the government to wield the sword for the good of the people. So that if a person commits such a horrific act of wickedness that the only just punishment is to put them to death, then that is a just and righteous thing for the government to do.